Full Disclosure is continuing to document the struggle to restore the integrity to our judicial system in California. A few months ago, civic leader David Hernandez filed a suit to have his case against Los Angeles Measure R reversed by voiding Judge Yaffe's decision. He is now taking his case up to the California Court of Appeals. Full Disclosure's legal analyst, John Barron, describes the situation.
In 2007, his case was dismissed by Yaffe, Judge Yaffe, and he wants to reinstate it so that he can bring the challenge again. He feels that the decision of Judge Yaffe was wrong. And the basis for that is that Judge Yaffe was a disqualified judge because he accepted $860,000 from the county. And even during the trial, Judge Yaffe was receiving the money, and he never disclosed it. And the county council was at the trial, and he never disclosed that the judge was receiving the money then. And that seems to be against several things. One, common sense, but two, it's against the Code of Judicial Ethics. And this should disqualify the judge.
We asked Mr. Barron to explain how Mr. Hernandez is mounting his appeal.
He has moved to disqualify Judge Robert O'Brien. So Robert O'Brien then rejected it. He struck the disqualification motion. And when you have a disqualification motion that is struck by the judge, it cannot be reviewed on a normal basis. It can only be reviewed by a writ of mandate to the Court of Appeal. So that's what this is. This is the writ of mandate to the Court of Appeal to try and have Judge O'Brien disqualified from hearing his case.
On what basis does this writ of mandate disqualify Judge O'Brien? We ask him.
The primary reason is that Robert O'Brien, as a judge, he's a retired judge now, but as a judge, when he was a regular judge on the Superior Court, received over $225,000 in illegal county payments. And these payments, therefore, disqualify him. He has received illegal money from a party in the case, the county.
But apparently there are more issues than merely taking illegal payments.
He was disqualified for taking that money. The second issue that he was disqualified for is that he violated judicial ethics. The third issue is that he illegally struck the petition for disqualification, the motion for disqualification. He failed to answer properly, according to the statutes, the disqualification motion. There's a statute in the Code of Civil Procedure in California that says a judge has to either consent to disqualification or he has to answer and deny the charges. And if he fails to answer within 10 days, he is automatically considered to be disqualified. So he did not answer within 10 days, so no matter what he said in that order, he's disqualified at this point.
But why let the Code of Judicial Ethics get in the way of a judge? He didn't answer the disqualification motion within the required time period. So what? He's a judge, right? It's his court, right? But wait, there's still more.
He's also disqualified under the Due Process Clause of the United States Constitution. In a recent case, the U.S. Supreme Court has held that no man can be a judge in his own cause. And also no man can be a judge where he has a direct financial interest.
A direct financial interest? We asked Mr. Barron to explain how the judges had a direct financial interest.
Judge O'Brien and Judge Yaffe were basically in the same boat. They've both taken money from the county. So if you're asking Judge O'Brien to make a judgment on whether Judge Yaffe took the money illegally, you're asking him to decide that he took the money illegally. So he's unlikely to do that. The second part of it, where he has a direct financial interest, the rest of the mandate here attacks SBX 211.
SBX 211 is another scurrilous tactic foisted by the judges to perpetuate their scam.
SBX 211 is a bill that was passed by the legislature in California to address the Sturgeon decision in 2008, which said that the county, Los Angeles County, was illegally paying the judges. extra money.
So how did SBX 211 reverse the Sturgeon decision, we ask him?
SBX 211, passed by the legislature and signed by the governor, purports to give retroactive immunity to the judges for civil liability, criminal prosecution, and disciplinary actions against the judges. This is unconstitutional, and the reason that this is brought up here is because the Due Process Clause says that if he has a financial interest in it, Judge O'Brien, he should be disqualified under the federal Due Process Clause.
And then Mr. Barron tied SBX 211 to the direct financial interest that is prohibited by the Due Process Clause.
How is his financial interest here direct? Well, it's direct because if SBX 211 is declared unconstitutional, then he doesn't have any retroactive immunity, and he could be liable. He could be liable for civil and criminal and disciplinary actions. And that's what the judges all fear.
That fear is well placed. So David Hernandez's case hinges on how the appeals court rules on SBX 211.
But in order to argue that Judge O'Brien is disqualified because he has a financial interest, he has to argue that SBX 211 is unconstitutional and illegal, because the other side is arguing that SBX 11 gives them immunity, and they're just not disqualified for having taken the money.
So what is the current status of Mr. Hernandez's appeal, we ask him?
The petition for a writ of mandate has been filed. The other side, the county and the city of LA, have a certain amount of time to file a reply brief to this. Then Mr. Hernandez has a certain amount of time to file an answer to that reply brief. And then the Court of Appeal will schedule an oral argument, probably, and sometimes they do not even schedule an oral argument. They just take it under submission and decide it on the briefs.
Is there any assurance that they will give a ruling on those issues like SBX 211 and his prayer for relief?
Actually, no, because the Court of Appeal can do a lot of what they want. We have heard that some other people have tried to disqualify Judge O'Brien in somewhat similar cases, and he refused to be disqualified, and appeals were taken to the Court of Appeal just like this, and the Court of Appeal summarily dismissed them without even writing an opinion, giving no reasons for it. So that could happen here.
So what recourse does Mr. Hernandez have?
If they turn it down, this writ of a mandate, Judge O'Brien is the judge on the case.
And then he can do anything he wants with impunity. But there's still another avenue available, according to Mr. Barron.
There's also, though, another thing that has been submitted to the court in the Superior Court is for a change of venue, saying that Judge O'Brien, Judge Yaffe, and all the judges who've taken money from the county are disqualified, and that, in fact, the case should be moved to another Superior Court somewhere else in the state where the judges were not receiving illegal payments from the county.
So one way or the other, Mr. Hernandez will get his day in court?
That's very hard to say because there are so many ways in the court that you can be tripped up, that you can lose a point of law or something, and then it will severely damage your chances of getting a fair hearing. Particularly in this case, the issue of venue is very important. It may be impossible, in fact I believe it would be impossible, to receive a fair hearing in Los Angeles County because all the judges, and in fact a number of the appellate court judges who used to be Superior Court judges years ago, all of them have taken money from the county illegally. And if they have a bias in it, they don't want to decide against themselves.
Why isn't there a major outcry about this issue? Where is the mainstream media? Why isn't the whole country up in arms about this corruption of our judicial system?
that all involves a very sensitive issue: possible criminal prosecution of judges, possible civil liability to pay back the money, possible prosecution of the county supervisors. The newspapers don't want to spread this around. The Supreme Court doesn't want to see this spread around. None of the powers that be want to see this brought to light.
One would think that the legal profession, the people who are responsible for upholding the laws, the people who have sworn an oath to protect and defend the Constitution, would be the first ones to sound the alarm at this travesty of justice. Where are all the honest lawyers hiding?
Most lawyers will not touch this case or cases like it because they fear being branded as trying to do something nasty to the judges, trying to have the judges disqualified from this and that, trying to have the judges criminally prosecuted, trying to have the judges have to be paying back the money that they took illegally. That's something that no lawyer or any judge wants to see happen.
And so David Hernandez carries on his fight alone on behalf of us, representing himself without an attorney in the courtroom where the judges reign supreme. We want to know what you, the viewers, think. Please respond to our survey and leave your comments below. Number 1, why isn't the mainstream media aligned with David Hernandez? Do you think this is an important issue? Yes or no? Number 2, there is a process where the judges can and should be disqualified due to bias, and it is often ignored by the judges. Do you think citizens should expend the extra time and money and effort to take this to a higher court to make the system work? Yes or no? And number 3, the media has failed to inform the public that all of California judges have received retroactive criminal immunity from prosecution for having taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from county governments all across the state. Do you think we should expose the media cover-up of this travesty? Yes or no? Please be sure to leave your comments below. I'm Leslie Dutton. Thank you.